in the last 10 years, more and more researchers talks about how important is the first 2 years of life of the wellness and well-being of your baby. We can tell you how many words your baby heard today, exactly like your smartwatch that tells you how many steps you had today. It's not about technology. It's not about data collection. It's not about AI. It's about the baby's well-being in the most important period of time.
Welcome. This is an Hour of Innovation podcast, and I'm your host, Lyoshin. Ami Meoded joins me today to explore the innovation behind AI-driven Elora Baby Wellness Monitor. We will discuss its development, its impact on parenting, and the role of technology in refining childcare. Welcome, Ami. Thank you for joining me today.
Italian, thank you for hosting me. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. So just to start off, what have you, how you been inspired, and your team been inspired to create such a monitor and such a company?
Baby monitoring is a technology that is around for the last 20 years. I don't know if you are aware of, but the very first monitoring of babies during the night sleep was a company named Baby Sense, a very well-known company worldwide, I think. But to combine and to start thinking of wearable devices with babies, it was a little bit revolutionary to attach to babies technologies. The very first company who did that was Owlet. Owlet is an amazing company that actually found a way to convince parents that it's okay to have a smart sock, and using this smart sock to track the baby's pulse and saturation. It was more than innovation. It was not just a technological innovation. It was, I think, the most important thing here was to make parents understand or believe or to adopt a technology that is attached to your baby's foot in that case for the whole night in the night sleep during the night sleep. So when we look at them, we realize that the part of the population is already mature enough, or let's say advanced enough to endorse that kind of things. All of us, most of us, use smartwatches, right? We walk anywhere we go with our smartphones. So we're already aware of that, but to do that with toddlers and babies, it was the innovative part. So we didn't started this market, this category, but we realized that we can do much more and not just to be focused on the night sleep of the babies. Although this is one of the most important things for parents, the fear from what would happen if I want to sleep and my baby is in the other room or in his crib, I have no idea. And the parents will buy anything that might help them and solve this problem. Actually, they cannot solve any problem. It's not about the problem, it's about the parents' confidence. And when we talk to investors in the beginning and we talk to them about that, what can we do? We promise the investors not to concentrate only on the fear of the parents. Two reasons. The very first one, you cannot claim anything in this area of seeds. Nobody knows what it's seeds, so you cannot claim anything on that market. At the very same time, this market is actually 0-1 market. Either you something had happened and you detect it, or nothing happened, you didn't detect that. And when you start to analyze the parents' behavior, you understand that they don't use this product because of the problem. They use this product because they feel okay or don't feel okay with themselves. And when they understand that their baby will kill them, since everything is more than okay, sometimes they forget to use these products, or let's say the efforts they put on that are not come along with what they can gain from such a product. So we decided to do something in this area, but not to concentrate on that area. Because side by side with that, in the last 10 years, more and more researchers talks about how important is the first 2 years of life of the wellness and well-being of your baby. It is not just, take care for the safety during the night sleep. It's about how confidence is your baby in your presence at home. Or what is the environment in this house for making peaceful for night sleep and day sleep? Babies need to sleep 16 hours a day at the beginning, even more. How lovely and how loving is the communication and the ongoing communication with that baby? Consistency of the feeding of the baby and the activity. How important is to play more and more with your baby? What I just mentioned was the most important four bricks: feeding, nutrition in general. And it's not just the feeding, the diaper changing and so on.
Mhm.
Sleeping, playing, and communicating, loving communication with babies are the foundations of the first 2 years of life that will impact everything later on. Two people decided to have a baby. The version of the adult that we are going to receive will be designed in the first 2 years of life and the way we are going to behave with them. So we thought, okay, we have an opportunity here. On one end, we don't want to become a medical device because it's going to take us several years just to start the business. But at the very same time, and we look, it was in 2020, we realized that we could, I don't want to say we predicted, but we knew that we are going to have, with our AI and other features that will help us to, to develop what we're supposed to develop. We looked for the most modest, simple things to work with in order to understand the baby's secret lives. And we realized that we need to listen to them anywhere they go, not just in the night sleep in their bedroom, and to track the motions, the acceleration of the bellies of the babies, and the synchronization of the sounds of the babies in the surrounding, as well as the baby's activities, created an ability to map tremendous world of highly detailed data that the moment you understand the context of them, you understand what's happening with that baby, and you can generate different kinds of insights to the parents.
Okay, that makes sense. So it seems like it's a pretty important problem that you're solving. Not just you have a peace of mind for parents, which I'm a parent and I care a lot about that. And sometimes it's very stressful. So to know what's going on with the baby is really gives me peace of mind, for example. But also you're taking care of baby itself and giving some insights to healthcare providers probably and to parents what to do next, how to improve and how to help baby, right?
Yes, you mentioned something very important. When we started, we wanted to understand what is the strength of the needs we are dealing with. The very first thing parents would like to make sure that when they go to sleep, they would like to make sure that they will wake up and the baby will be smiling and happy in his bed.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can do anything about that. There are minor things that you can do, that is about the temperature in the room to avoid situation that the baby is rolling over their faces, but there is no technology that's solving that. But this is the biggest fear. We found out that the second thing is parents really care about what they do in order to ensure that the development of the baby will be the best. Why?
Mm-hmm.
We need to go to work. We are not around the baby 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day. I don't want even to talk about 12 or even more hours a day. Or if I'm a single parent, it's even worse. It's even
Mm-hmm.
worse. The next thing, side by side with what do I do in order to support my baby development, the engagement and everything, the next thing after that, we found out that parents really care about the quality of the care their babies receive when they are not around. Maybe the nanny is professional, but you don't really know what she does. Or maybe your mother-in-law, she's trying to help, but you don't really know if she's okay with the baby, or random babysitter, or any person in the daycare. So we realized that we need to create a tool that will cover all of these things. Side by side with that, we realized that safety is not just about the night sleep. If somebody, for instance, will treat your baby in a very aggressive care, we created a technology that tracks that. If somebody scream at your baby, this is another feature we're about to add. Or if the baby is falling from a changing table, it's not normal, okay? Or if your
Mm-hmm.
baby is crying and nobody approach him, Okay, so there are so many other accidents that are not so popular, or we don't talk about them a lot. Shaking the baby, it's a syndrome that people don't talk about that, but we can track that. So
Mhm.
we realized that we need to provide a solution that will go side by side with the growth of the baby in the first 24 months of life. And if you ask me, it's the very first need is that fear of the night sleep, but all the others together are not
Yeah,
less important.
right, right. Okay. So let's talk about how you have this monitor and AI technology helping tracking sounds and motions and vital signs and whatever else maybe it's tracking.
So we have actually three sensors, three important sensors. There are many others. The sound, analog sound and the digital sounds, two different kinds of microphones. And we have a accelerator in the Elora, and we have another sensor that tracks the air quality 24/7
Mhm.
where the device is. What we have done, we at the very first and at the beginning, we realized that we need to create a platform. AI, in AI, there are two different worlds. What do you do with the technology and the algorithms that you are developing? But it won't work, or you will not receive the insights and the thing you need if you don't have quality of data, tagged data that you work with. So if you don't know the term garbage in, garbage out, it goes with AI
Mhm.
too. If you don't have a data that is that you tagged in a very accurate level, it's going to be very difficult to provide a good product. So the very
Mhm.
first thing we needed to do is to understand what is a baby, how babies behave, how the baby behave, how baby is rolling. It's not like a mature person that is rolling, how baby is crawling, and what is tummy time in baby's world, what is rocking, what is a stroller, being in a stroller, being in a car in terms of being a baby. The other thing is to understand sounds. What do? We do not know what you said to your baby, but we know that you talk to your baby. We can recognize that you sang to your baby, or if you yell at your baby, we don't know what you said, but we can distinguish what was each one of the things. But most important, we know that the baby was crying, or you laugh with your baby, because this is the
Mhm.
engagement we toggle. But why the baby is crying? This is even more important. So what we developed was an auto tagging system that is connecting. Sorry, I will go one step backward.
Okay.
There are today out there, if you can find applications that you can download them to your cell phone. You come close to your baby, you record the baby's soundtrack of crying, and this application is supposed to tell you in a 70% of accuracy what was the reason for crying. There are four or five main reasons for crying, which is pain, tiredness, or hunger, or inconvenience. Okay.
Mhm.
But we saw that and we thought to ourselves, okay, first of all, it cannot be accurate for long, because when baby is growing up, any baby actually adapt the accent of the parents. So the cries changes. At the very same time, it's unreasonable, instead of hugging and kissing your baby, is to to tell your baby, keep crying, I'm going to bring my phone, I would like to record you. It doesn't work that way. We don't believe in that. Maybe it works, but we do not believe in that. So we thought to ourselves, what should we do? We cannot rely on parents interpretation or explanation. My baby was crying because he was hungry. What did you do? You didn't feed him for 2 hours? How it's more
Yeah.
complicated, and you need a lot of data. So we thought about the combination of sound and motion. I will give you an example. Let's assume that we have a baby, and this baby was crying. We can recognize that, but a few minutes later, he falls asleep. The belly goes up and down for 2 hours, quiet around the baby. We can assume that this specific baby fall asleep. So the auto tagging system we created tells itself, okay, I can assume and tag this cry as a tiredness in that specific baby, to personalize that event for that specific baby.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you fed your baby and he stopped crying, we can tell ourselves, okay, this baby was crying because he was hungry. It made us to add a very important feature to Elora. We would love the parents to talk to their kids, right? We would love them to communicate with them. In the end of the day, we can tell you how many words your baby heard today, exactly like your smartwatch that tells you how many steps you had today. We tell you how many words your baby was exposed to today. Very important in language acquisition to communicate, talk, and tell the world to your baby. When you touch the Elora, it changes its color to blue. And the moment it changes its color to blue, you can say whatever you want. Oh, let's change your diaper. I think it's too wet today. Oh, let's eat a banana. Oh, grandma is coming. We enable parents to communicate with the baby and actually in real time using speech to text technology to tell what they have done instead of typing it in the annoying process to the baby diary. So the parents gain a highly detailed, seamless, and easy to use baby diary. And we got another smart way. The idea is to have smart and accurate way to tag the data. We created an amazing way to tag the data. Here is a pattern of changing diaper. And this is the pattern of feeding the baby. And this is the pattern, or the house become noisy because grandma just came in. We created a world where we can tag different kind of things in our way to do only one thing, because when you talk to experienced mom, they say, oh, I don't need you to tell me why the baby is crying. What about the ability of adult people to listen to their heart, to work with their instincts? We are losing our, and they're right. They are right. I raised my kids with no technology, and trust me, they are lovely kids. They are right. But at the very same time, my responsibility or my values or my vision is to make you wake up at 2 a.m. at night, and when your baby is crying, to tell you in real time that your baby is crying because of pain, and to avoid the trial and error. The baby is crying, you try to change the diaper, you're trying to rock him, you try to feed him, and you don't know the baby is in pain. We are not doing it to make your life easier and make you not use your instincts. We are trying to help your baby. We didn't release this feature of reason of crying. We are going to do it soon. But the idea is to create a system that tags itself. The algorithms, it's another thing that we do all the time, A/B testing, and we always improve them. But as you know, technology nowadays, it's tremendous, the innovation and maybe even in 2 months' time, what I'm talking now is going to be irrelevant. Things are happening so fast, so fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
But tag data is the important part here.
Yeah. Yeah. Understand. What about the other sensors that you mentioned for, I think you've mentioned acceleration and air quality. Are there any particular like problems you're solving with those or needs for parents?
Well, one of the things we solve, I don't want to use the term solve,
Mm-hmm.
because parenting is a world where anyone can do something else, because it's based on your values, your background, your culture, your understanding. And you know what? Maybe you understand everything, but your spouse will change everything. So parenting, it's not something you solve. The only thing we can do, we can reflect.
Mm-hmm.
Try to imagine that you go to the gym and there is a weight in the gym. And every week you go over the weight, and you see what is your weight. The weight doesn't tell you what to do. Talk to your trainer, talk to yourself. We cannot tell you what to do, but we can share with you what had happened. So we reflect
Mm-hmm.
with parents several important things. How much time your baby spend in tummy time? Very important, because it's one of the most important milestones to strengthen the muscles of the neck and the shoulders. Some parents don't do that because the baby start to cry when you put them in tummy time. And it's not the right thing to do. The other thing we do, you should know how much you communicate with your baby, talking to the baby, and we don't pay attention. In many occasions, we have a busy day, we are rushing and running, we are at home, we are next to our kids, but we talk to the Zoom all day. Not good. but we won't tell you it's not good, because over time, the moment you see, we call the reports, we call them call to action reports, because they are very simple to understand, and it like tells you in a very nice way what you should do better tomorrow. Because
Mm-hmm.
your baby has only 24 months to do the best. You cannot say, oh yeah, in 5 years time I will finish my project, I will come back. No, your baby will never ever be again 6 months old. Do it now. We tell parents how active their babies was, because in many occasions, and not just parents, many caregivers, the moment the baby is not crying, they are fine with that. No, baby needs to destroy the house. He needs to crawl all over the place. He needs and the World Health Organization says, they say, not us. Guys, we are not playing enough with our kids in this decade. That's why we have more overweight kids in the elementary school. Play with the kids. We would like to tell you how active was your baby. If you with your smartwatch will see how much you active, how much you played this day, or how much you run, or how much you walk today, it will impact your well-being for the next couple of months. Good for you. We are
Mm-hmm.
talking about something that will impact the entire life of this toddler. So this is the things we are doing. The air quality, it's because of the sensitivity of it in many urban places, tells you what is going on around your baby. Most of the 99% of the time, everything is fine. These babies do not used to go to construction area or to industrial area. However, I don't want people to smoke next to my baby. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. Um, or air pollution. Air pollution is somebody who is screaming or noise next to the kids. We didn't release it yet, but this is one of the things that we would like to do either. The kids doesn't need to have traumatized
Right.
from noises that we don't like. So
Right, right.
this is the use of this thing. We do not come in touch with the baby's skin. We do not
Mm-hmm.
track vitals like pulse or saturation. On the other hand, we do track the motion of the Elora. If the Elora is not moving for 20 seconds, you cannot, that it changes its colors to red and tells you that something went wrong. And the other thing we understood we have to do due to communication with the parents, and it's a very important topic, how to develop a product with community of parents. It was an amazing journey. They told us we do not want any radiation. But listen, you have to understand that Bluetooth is not so bad. Or no, we don't want to hear about that. So they forced us to design a product that you cannot transmit any information from it in real time. It might make noises or change its colors if something going wrong to red. But
Mm-hmm.
if you work with your potential clients, you need to listen to them and to understand. Not if it doesn't mean if they're right or wrong. You have to understand in between the line what they really mean. So they forces us to do something, and then to do the next thing. In case of emergencies, the LoRa changes its color and make noises if you want it to make them. When at the end of the day, you put the LoRa in the docking station, it's upload the whole data like crying, playing, whatever, words and stuff like that, analyzing another neural network in the cloud, and then you see everything in the LittleOne.Care app. Then, after when we started to work with the other parents, said, no, we would like to know in real time in case of emergencies. So we added an ability that through the app, you can define if you want to receive one ping that will tell you that somebody is shaking the baby, that the baby is falling from a changing table, any extremist situation. And the Elora can be connected to 5 different Wi-Fi's networks, like at home, daycare, mother-in-law, or 5 places. And the moment
Mm-hmm.
the baby is there, you actually supposed to receive notification in real time if something bad had happened. If you defined that in the app.
Like emergencies, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So,
I,
mm-hmm.
I'm sorry if it's okay. I have to share with you something. When we started in 2020, one of the most important decisions we have made is not to write any, not to go directly to the technology and start to write code and everything that is related to let's create a product. The very first thing we have done was to create a community of 30 parents and to start communicate with them over different kind of ideas. And these 30 parents, their kids grew up very fast, so we had to change them every couple of months. But all the time we have around us community of parents, and we are trying to not just listen to them to understand what they want, side by side with baby experts, because sometimes the parents ask for something that, according to the baby experts, it's not good for the parents themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It might, for instance, create a competition or things that we don't really want. So
Mm-hmm.
on one hand, we never ever say no to the parents, but we said yes, but let's talk to the psychologist, let's talk to this physician, let's talk to this speech therapist. And together we created something that on one hand the parents like and the experts approved. Okay, it was a very interesting journey, and even now we keep asking the parents what do you want to see in the next generation all the time. They know
Sure.
better. They know better.
Yeah. That's a good product development practice to rely on feedback from real users. That's for sure. So, what about concerns about safety of the data, um, privacy of the data, and things like that? How do you deal with that?
um, Unlike many other applications, in this case it's very sensitive, the safety of the product as a product, because we are working in the area of babies under the age of 3. Tons of regulations. You need to understand this market, and what we have done, we didn't want to learn this market by ourselves. So we work with manufacturers of toys for babies under the age of 3. You have, because you cannot make even one mistake. No room for mistakes. No, it's not a waste of time. It's even worse than that. So this is the very first thing we have done. We worked with people that understand this market. We brought a product manager that came after 20 years in this market, and the manufacturer that works with him for the last 20 years. At the very same time, you create a technology, you start to collect data, you analyze the data, you upload the app, you provide parents with reports. And thanks God, I read the GDPR. People don't like these policies, GDPR or California, or any other states that starts to. I love it because I don't read them as a company that is trying to fit itself to the new
Mm-hmm.
rules. I'm no one. I just came to the market, so I don't need to fit my technology to the. I have an existing technology, and now I need to fit in. No, I came from nowhere, and I said read it and try to understand the logic behind that. And I fall in love. I fell in love with that. I think it's very respectful to tell you what data I collect. I think it forces me to understand why do I need the data. I have no, I'm not intending to advertise it. I'm not going to put you any banners in the app. So why should I collect data that will take more room in my servers? Then I need to explain you what I'm going to do with this data. So when we created the alpha trial and the beta trial, we even added pictures of what we do. And then the lawyer said it needs to be more practical, so give up of the picture. But I added picture to the terms of use in privacy policy and safety policy because I wanted them to read that as a book with lovely pictures. And then I think this is the most respectful part. I need to enable you to delete all data in 2 step or 3 steps from the homepage of any screen. Go, ask, done. And people ask that because people know other companies that will used to manipulate them, and I totally understand them. Later on, I call them and ask why did you ask us to delete the data, and kept the relationship with these people, because we are here to create communities of parents. It's not just the product, and we would like to be friends with anyone who uses our technology. So I found it very interesting, and the moment you understand the logic of things, you are doing even more and better.
Yeah.
Um, this is the way we treated that, and although it's in many other situations it might be annoying, it's we converted it into an enjoyable journey. This is
I
the way
see.
we. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So then, did you have any resistance from investors maybe or users or anybody at all who looked at your product and said like, well, how do I trust? How do I'm not going to use it. How you deal with, first of all, which resistance you got, and then how you deal with them to convince people.
Most of the investors are wealthy people around the age of 50 to 60. They, and you could see through their eyes when you talk to them. They are looking at your presentation. They're looking at you. They're not listening to the content. They are trying to read in between the line if you are a reliable person, if the need is really powerful. But you can see through their eyes that their brain tells them the F word and say, I raised my kid without all of this shit. What do I need? Why should I? They are not the clients. And the big challenge was to make them think like millennials.
Mhm,
Since they are not millennials, in many occasions, and I think this is a very important lesson, when you talk to an investor and you explain them in a logical way why this is going to work, you need to understand that there is another gap you are not aware, you are not talking, and you cannot say, oh, you are too old, but you have to listen to it. It won't work.
mhm,
So you know what we have done after the very first investment. The very first investment was from a VC that's working with people they really believe they can do that. Okay, I'm not saying they do not look at the presentation and they don't analyze what you do, but that VC is VC of looking for talented person. And trust me, my partner is a very talented person, and and that's why they invest in companies. But the next steps was to look for crowdfunding of
mhm,
people in the age of 30, 35 that cannot pay a lot of money, but really think it's going to be a useful product, because there are the people who are about to have kids in the next couple of years. And we raised a lot of money due to that, and it was very fast, and it was a very interesting journey. So this is the way we solve the problem. I mean, I'm talking about 2020, 2021. Nowadays, maybe more and more people will understand that, but we couldn't wait to 2024, 5 and say, okay, the market is going to grow up. And we couldn't find a way to close the gap of the understanding of the 50 years old investor with the behavior of the millennial. So this is the way we solve that. In terms of parents, most of the parents will say, I will never ever put anything on my kids. Sorry. Most of the
mhm,
parents, and it's fine. Most of the people won't look or will ignore how many steps you had today in your smartwatch, which is fine either. Um, and we are not trying to fight them, because there is a huge population of parents that do understand the importance of understanding your own behavior. It's not about monitoring the baby. And I will share with you a story. When we started, we had several pilots, then alpha trial, then beta trial, and each step was with a more advanced version of the product. And when we launched the early adopter program, which was with the real product that we're about to launch, but with all the version of software, and we started to look for parents in the US, I received an email from a mom. Then, when I interviewed her, I realized that it was her fourth baby, and she was not the only one. I had another mom at the very same week. It was her third baby. So and the very same day, I had another mom. It was her second baby. And I said, "Whoa, two, three, four. The next one's going to be with five kids. What is going on here?" So I didn't want to do that, because had a very strict relationship with the parents. But I told myself, I need to talk to her. I need an explanation. I said,
mhm,
it's not your first kid. It's not your first baby. You are not an experienced mom. Why do you need such a product? It's against our way of thinking. We thought we were going to work only with unexperienced mom. And she said, it was very nice to hear you in the Zoom call when you explain what is going on, but I need to tell you something. I know what now, it's not my first kid, but now I know what I missed. Now I know what is to be a good parent. Now I understand what I need to track about myself. And she realized what we really do. We do nothing about babies beside of safety. Babies do four things: sleep, eat, cry, and poo. That's it. Think of it. But if the baby is going to spend some time in time is your decision. If you're going to talk or sing to your baby, it's about you and your attention. Are you going to stop everything and lay on the carpet with your kid and start to play with him? It's like to stop your life and doing that. It's your decision. You decide where to change diaper. You decide where to. It's about yourself. And she realized that in the first stage. We do not tell parents, okay, we are going to create a product that will tell you how do you behave. But at the end of the day, the report it's about the treatment and the care. Okay, so it was a very important lesson. We have the gap. The real gap is again between the highly detailed product with a lot of functionalities we created and the ability to explain it in one sentence. But the way you solve it, you create a community of users. You create within the app, within our app, any baby experts can join for free. And the moment as the parents you start to investigate the data, you can communicate with these experts using a chat, and these experts can gain new clients. So it's a win-win-win relationships. And you trying to find places like your lovely podcast to explain it step by step. It takes time, and you create communities, but I think there is no way back because it's a tremendous data set that parents and the future kid can gain from it a lot.
Yeah, that's funny, but because I have a daughter and she's already more than 2 years old, but I was thinking exactly that. Like, I kind of missed this device 2 years ago.
Mm.
That
You
would have
talk
been nice.
you talk like a person who understands technology and understand how you can harness the technology for your own needs. There are other parents that said, I trust my instincts. Or I will share with you another story. In the alpha trial, uh, we had only 35 devices. It was funny devices. I don't even understand how we work with them, but you have to start with something.
Sure. Yep.
So when I released a request, I look for and I told what we're going to do. I need for 35 parents. I woke up in the morning and I received 400 requests. 400, and I have only 35 devices because two baby experts just spread it somewhere and you couldn't stop the wave. So I worked with the boxes. I went to the, because when in alpha trial, you need to be very, 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 very sensitive. You need to explain everything. You need to explain what are the problem, what is the gaps, what they need to look for, no waterproof issue. And it's like a very simple product. So I came to one of the houses. I talked to the wife, and I was sitting in the house because I was rushing, and I have another 35 devices and you need to meet people in person. You cannot send it over using
Right.
FedEx. You need to meet them and understand what is the environment, what is going on. So I was sitting over there, and the husband, he was a little bit not passive aggressive, but he doesn't like technology. They said, "Tell me, is that product will tell if I yelling and screaming at home?" And then he speak to his wife. You know that I'm shouting and you know that I'm you know
Noisy guy.
noisy guy. I said, yeah, this is part of the ability of the product to analyze if the baby has a peaceful environment. And he said, no, no, so we don't want this product. I'm sorry, I'm yelling all day. I don't need it. I had no time. Took my stuff and said, okay, thank you, sorry, because I have another 400 people that are waiting. So I needed to do that. I walked to the door because I didn't want to negotiate that. I look for parents, cooperative parents in that stage.
Mhm.
I walked to the door, and when I opened it, they say, "Come, come, come back, come back." I said, "What?" They said, "Listen, I think I need to change my manners. I need to change my habits." I realized at that moment. We are doing the right thing. I was so happy. I played the game, but I was so happy. And I have to share with you another story. Two AI people, one professor from one of the leading university in the US, amazing woman. She loves us, and we talked a lot about algorithms and the company's development. And her husband is another AI amazing person, and they have a baby, and they love the idea of AI and babies and everything. And one day I asked him in one of the surveys we have done, when you use Elora, how does it affect you? And what does it do? That's what I mean. I have to share with you funny thing, although it's AI and everything. The moment I see the Elora on my baby's belly, here is on my chest, on my baby's
Mhm.
belly, it reminds me that in the evening I will be able to see the reports of activity and talking. So I talk more and play more. It's a good
Right.
reminder for me. Well, it's another way to see that. It was funny, but it's true.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a logical thing, right? You
Yeah,
change your behavior when you know that you have some reports. Like I know when I first time in 2015 I bought my first Apple Watch. For the next like 12 months, I was walking around my couch in my living room just to catch up on those my goals, you know. That was crazy. I never thought of myself being like that, but it happens.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I have to share with you a story. When we look at, we have kind of a smartwatch, but with no screen, no screen,
Hmm.
because baby doesn't need to know the time
Yeah.
when you wake up at midnight, and the baby doesn't need to text the friends, "I poo, what about you?" Right? It's a joke in our company. At the very same time, when you look at similar companies like Apple, they have 1,000 people that works on Apple Watch. We are just six people. We are just six people. Uh,
Yeah.
but and you have to be very, very efficient. Um, yeah, it is
Yeah.
what it
Or
is.
maybe it's also a lesson for Apple that maybe they don't need 1,000 people.
Yeah.
That's a different story, right? So, can you tell me, please, what's next for your product? You're probably working on next iteration, generation. What's coming? What's exciting?
So first of all, the current the product we launched it a couple of months ago. You can buy it on our website, on Amazon, in several websites actually, not just our website. And we ask parents to purchase it during the last period of the pregnancy, because this is the hardest part of the pregnancy. You put it on your chest, like I do, and it tracks your socializing, because it knows how much you talk, how active you are, what is the quality of your sleep, and you can tap it, and you can communicate about your nutrition or even emotional diary. If you have a doula, she can see everything you see.
Mm.
Then you pass it to your baby, and we have, for the very first time, an amazing baby diary that started from the pregnancy to the first 24 months of life. The next stages is to release features that we are working on, like changing the colors according to the reason for crying. Red, pain; green, food; deep blue, go to sleep; and yellow, change diaper. Okay? This is the next stages. But we have other things that we want to do. We can tell um, the differences between caregivers. Like with this caregiver is crying less, with that caregiver you talk more. In that caregiver, um, the idea is not to have this data. The idea how to present this data and to avoid problems in the family. The idea is, again, we are very, very sensitive about what I'm saying. It's not a joke. We really our eyes are on the ball, and the ball is your baby's well-being, and everything needs to be. It's not about technology. It's not about data collection. It's not about that. It's about the baby's well-being in the most important period of time. Next thing we talk about is the ability to tell you as a parent about the connection of between the book you read to your baby and the ability of the very same baby to recognize the purple as a color. Nobody knows the term purple if you will not train the baby about purple. Baby will never ever say 15, 16, 17, 19 if we will not play, read, explain, or demonstrate them that kind of things.
Mhm.
And the moment you will see the connection, you will play more with your baby. And quality time won't be something for your good feeling. It's you will see the results. So it's a long process. It's more about speech development and acquisition of new terms and vocabulary. But it's the next stages. We would like to track specific words if we will hear them. It's a listening mode, so it's like when you say it's just listen. It doesn't. And that kind of technologies will enable us to tell you that your baby said 15 times the term, your toddler actually, and it's after the 24 months. It's 50 times, it's 20 times the term why today, and the next
Mm-hmm.
day 25 times. In many houses, when the babies say, because they want to learn the word, ma, why ta 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 tam, and the mom explain, and why and then there is sometimes people say, "Ah, I have no room for that anymore," and you're trying to, and sorry, I would like to develop this curiosity, because and I don't want to create enemies, but anywhere in the world right now, the education system is about to kill this curiosity, and I would like to develop it before he meets,
Yeah.
this system. And I would like to raise a curious, passionate kids. And this is the way to make you understand that you are part of this process and not to miss it. So
Yeah.
this is the things we want to do. It will take time. Right now, the thing we need to do is to create the communities and of the parents and experts and it's a very hard process, very hard process.
Yeah. So you know how, for example, when I go with my daughter to her pediatrician, they do some measurements and do some tests, and then they say, your kid is on this percentile of kids at the same like age and whatever, right? All other variables. And they tell you like, okay, she can eat more to gain more weight, or she needs to stop eating to lose weight, or whatever. Does your app do some sort of analysis like that across kids and like,
Very important
yeah.
question. We are not a medical device,
Mm-hmm.
but at the very same time, right now we are running a medical trial that analyzes the impact of the environment on a baby development. Baby development is based on tables, very simple tables from the 70s. These tables are from the 70s, and they have a wide range because it's based on weight and height and the scale size of the baby.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was trying to add how active is that baby, what is the sleeping pattern of that baby, how crying less, crying more, and we would like to create something that will be more, there is no more accurate, but to provide a better resolution for the baby development process. I will tell you more
Mm-hmm.
than that. In our advisory board, there are several leading neurologists that works with babies and kids. And this area is a very interesting area, because the moment you recognize issues in early stages, you can. It's more very. It's not about the quality of life of the baby. It's about the quality of life of the whole family. And one of the things we want to do is to create, using clinical trial, to create tools that will enable uh, parents and these physicians to recognize things in advance. We call it red flags. But the product, again, doesn't track any vitals and doesn't provide any insights. It's about the data, the very first time you collect data. In most cases nowadays, when you talk about data, collecting of data by physicians or psychologists in this area, you will find that they have a laboratory, people come with the kids, few cameras, few hours. We are carrying it all day, 24/7, anywhere you go. It's the very, and the parent doesn't make you a favor. They
Mm-hmm.
gain from that in all day. So it's a new way to collect the data and to find interesting thing. I hope we will find a solution for that. The other
I
thing,
see.
and the
Mm-hmm.
other thing that it's mentioned in a very light way in our website. We don't do that yet, but in the coming future, we will ask you in the app if you want to share what car seat you bought what car seat you have in your car.
Mm-hmm.
What is the brand? What baby formula do you use? You don't have to share, but we will tell you why we ask that. The moment we will have 600 people that will give us an answer about one baby formula comparison to another baby formula, 600 people, statistically, it will provide me an ability to map what is the average baby feel
Mm-hmm.
like. We discuss it, and if it's good for the average baby's back, and he will cry or will fall asleep during when you drive in the weekend to your parents-in-law and the baby is crying all the way over there. Or if this baby formula for the average baby is good, the baby is eating, sleeping, everybody happy, or it's a nightmare. You can We would like to, for the very first time, to create or to map the user experience of babies, because nowadays if you look at that, decision making is about how many likes we this random influencer received on Instagram, and all parents follow her. I don't know if my baby will like it, so we would like to create that too. It will take a while because we need, first of all, to create big community of parents all over the place before we start to mine that type of data. And again, you have to ask the parents if it's okay, without exposing who is the parents, but to help us to create. And nobody said no, because everybody understands the importance of it, to create
Mm-hmm.
the understanding what is the user experience of the average baby.
It will be also great for the companies who make those products like car seats and formulas and vitamins or whatever,
Abs-
food. There's so many baby foods that you can choose from. And it would be nice to know for those companies the feedback, how baby feels and behaves after they consume all that. That's
well,
great.
I don't know a lot about them. From what the researches we have done, these companies tests products before they develop them, and it's I don't know if you understand, it's a massive investment when they create a new product. It's not something
Right.
you do overnight. But nowadays the way they check it is about sending samples for many parents. They use the product, and they receive from the parents the feedback. The gatekeeper is the parents who use that, and the very same parents sometimes that provide you feedback. Nobody is knowing if the baby slept better, not through the eyes of the mom,
Mm-hmm.
like like
Right.
analyze that, or if the baby crying less or so on. So I yeah, the idea again is the well-being of babies, and to provide anything we can as a company, and the vision of my partner and mine, to bring it to the world. Again, it's about more and more users. It won't happen by itself.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I have a degree in business intelligence and analytics, and I always ask these questions because I like if you collect some data, you should do something about it, give feedback, and it's about actual qualitative and quantitative feedback, right? So you have two sides. Parents say something, how they feel about it, and then you have data to support and actually prove it. Yes, that matches with what they say, or it doesn't because they may be biased, or maybe they misinterpret it or something. So it's very important to have both things. I think that's great that you're doing that.
There is something that is, and it's a very sensitive thing. I'm not judging people, because I myself behave like that either.
Mhm.
There is something that it's a connection. There is a connection. There is a big connection between books, gym, diet, and kids. I will explain. You might buy the book, register to the gym, promise you start the diet, and you might believe that you are playing with your kid. Reality is quite different. You purchased the book, you didn't find time to read it yet.
Mhm.
You will register to the gym, but here and there you won't go, or you missed, or you forgot about it sometimes. You promise yourself, you paid for this diet program, but at 2 a.m. sometimes you have, and you go to the fridge, and it's exactly like kids. And the connection between all of these things, it is exactly between data and what people say, and what people think they were going to do, and what people really do. And kids, like, we need to put food on the table, we need to go to work, we have meetings, we are not all day around our kids. And it's not a real urgent problem, like, okay, I'll read him tomorrow, I will play with him in the weekend. It's nothing urgent here, and that's why we suspend it. But again, I will keep saying it: the first 24 months are important. Don't miss them.
Yeah.
And yeah, and when I used to be vice president for a company that brought the brands like Barney the Dinosaur or Dora the Explorer or Jungle Book, I saw that how much people will invest in purchasing toys and games and books. And then you investigate them and ask them, how was it? Did you like, oh, no, we didn't have time 2 weeks later. We didn't have time yet to read it. And it's like you remind them they bought it a while ago. So it's a thing. And I'm not complaining and I'm not judging. Life are tough. And we need, in a very nice way, to be the reminders to these parents that we are in the uh, in the in the most important and crucial period of time, these 24 months. We
Yeah,
called it
yeah.
we called it that 1,000 days pregnancy and the first 24 months. This important 1,000 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're almost coming to the end here. Can you share information how people can reach out or find your products? You mentioned a little bit about that
Well,
already.
yeah. Right now we sell only in the US.
Mm-hmm.
Only in the US. It's about regulation. We cannot ship it to other places because each country has a different regulation. So we concentrate only in the US. Access LittleOne.Care website. You can purchase it over there. Either you can buy it on Amazon. Look for Elora Baby Wellness Monitor on Amazon. This is the main two places. Within the app you can download for free. You can use the app as a full baby diary for free. You can meet baby experts in the app for free without having the Elora, the monitor. If you have the monitor, it's enrich your life and
Mm-hmm.
you can see so much. So you can download the app without, but the name of the app is LittleOne.Care app with the elephant logo. The app is free. The Elora, you pay it for the Elora once. Maybe in the future we will have another model that you pay on a monthly basis. Because at the end of the day, we would like to expand and to enable any single mom to have this product, especially them.
Mm-hmm.
25% of the kids in the US raised in a single mom's house. It's not something you can ignore. You have to do something to help this unique and strong moms. You have to find a
Mm-hmm.
way to make them even stronger.
Yeah. And then what will be your last thing to say to parents, um, just in general, whatever you feel like you want to leave the message for them?
You are good. If you kiss your baby, if you play with your baby, if you smile to your baby, if you hug your baby, you are a good parent. Many parents, when they think, oh, I didn't do that, they talk about themselves and what they had with their parents. Forget about that. This is the money time. You have 24 months to be the best version of yourself. Kiss your baby, play with your baby, read them books, do the things that they need to get without bringing in your own past problem with your parents. You are good. Just do it and keep doing it. It's not about technology. It's not about my product. It's about you being a good parent. It's about the baby's well-being.
Great, great. Thank you, Ami, for great conversation and explaining what your product does and hopefully what great things it will bring to families. Thank you very much.
I really enjoyed the conversation with you, and thank you for hosting us by by
Sure.
by any team member of LittleOne.Care.
Yeah, sure, sure. All right. Talk to you later. Bye bye.
Bye bye.